together to learn more about how to run this business for your kingdom. We pray you bless our time together. Pray that you would protect our store, our people, and our assets as we walk forward in faith. And we thank you for this food today. We pray you bless it to our body's use. And this is all in the blessed name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
There is some new things going on in this arena of people and asset protection. And if we look at our asset, we obviously have our people. They are our most important asset. We also have our product in the store. We have our building that we have everything in, which we need to look after. The equipment that is in here, our supplies, our cash, our time, our information, and our reputation. These are all assets that are considered when you think about a business. I'm very interested in looking at people today. I'm very interested in looking at cash today. And we'll talk a little bit about product today. We're fortunate in Okotoks that we don't have a lot of the problems like in Grand Prairie with a lot of drug users, a lot of people that are abusive, have issues and problems, drunk, homeless. They inhabit their store on a regular basis and they cause them a great deal of problem. We sometimes run into this situation here. But what is a violence? It's an implied or an actual exercise by any person of any physical force to cause injury, which they also deem to be threatening statements or threatening behavior, giving a person reasonable cause to believe they are at risk of injury. This has happened once or twice in our location. And one of the things we want to do is to not leave a volunteer or somebody that is a staff member in a situation where they have to deal with this on their own. This is why if you were caught back here in clothing and somebody got particularly aggressive and didn't like the way you were behaving towards them for some reason, and they started getting to the point where you were a little concerned, you might want to attract the attention of somebody else that's a volunteer or somebody that works here and just say to them, is Philip in yet? Because the minute you hear, is Philip in yet, that is a cry for help. This is our alert phrase that we're introducing. It's called, is Philip in yet?
Name's Philip.
Yeah. So let it be known that if you're in a bad situation, this is the guy that's going to come and help. It's the same thing in the receiving area back there, where people dump stuff off without being rude to the customer. If you know that there's 3 things in the back of the truck, but one of them's headed straight for the garbage, don't say it's okay, we'll take these and we'll put your other stuff in the garbage, that's fine, because that can insult people, right? So what we say is, yeah, we'll give this to Philip. And the stuff will find itself into the store briefly until that car drives away, and then Philip, otherwise known as the blue garbage can, will inherit those items. So it's just a polite way of saying, yeah, we'll take all your stuff. And if Russ is there, Linda's there, or Igor, or whoever, they just say, yeah, we'll give this to Philip. And they know where it's going to go, but not right there. You can't take it straight out of their car and walk over and put it in the garbage. Not the thing to do. So Philip is our go-to guy. The thing is that we want managerial notification as soon as possible that there's something going on in the store that needs, well, certainly our presence in that situation, possibly to take over, definitely to monitor, see what's going on. And so we have to have the idea that we are not going to risk anybody having any injury or harm come to them. So this is how we do it. Workplace violence in Canada. 7 in 10 workers have experienced harassment and violence. Third parties and co-workers most commonly reported perpetrators. 70% of workers experiencing harassment and violence missed work. 88% of workers were transferred or lost a shift due to violence. So that just tells you that in the workplace, as far as the government is concerned, and as far as people that run big businesses, they're aware of the fact violence is a huge issue. So that's why we're talking about it today. There's 3 stages of violence, and there's the soft level, there's the it's getting crazy, and then there's just got crazy. Stage 1 is people will be objectifying and dehumanizing other people. Slights, nasty comments. Sometimes it involves challenging the authority that's running in the place. Some people will alienate customers by their behavior or what they choose to say. That needs to be addressed. We need to be aware of that. Creating or spreading lies or gossip within the place. Swearing or explicit language, abusing other people, and sexually harassing other people. The second stage of violence is arguing frequently and intensely. At this point, we start getting involved and saying to ourselves, action needs to be taken. Blatantly disregarding policies and procedures, making verbal threats, conveying unwanted sexual attention or violent intentions, maybe by sending letters, voicemails, emails, or texts. Any of these things, once they go on, they should be brought to the attention of Karen and myself, because we need to start recording these incidents if they happen. Gets to a point where it becomes a marked incident that needs to be started to be recorded, because if this goes on, action definitely needs to be taken, and we have ways of dealing with staff and with volunteer situations where if it starts getting really bad, we have a pathway that we go down that is supported by interviews, talking to people, collecting information, if need be, getting a board member involved and having a joint interview. And at the end of the day, if it's 3 strikes, you're out. If you can't respond to the nice things and the nice way we want to deal with it, then we're going to have to ask you to leave. And I have 5 people that no longer are welcome in this place where we took them down that pathway. Of course, stage 3 is where fights happen. So, or somebody suddenly pulls out something out of their pocket and starts making threats. Or if they try to commit or attempt or start pushing somebody around, obviously arson or suicide, we have to add them in here, but that's not likely. But within the store itself, if somebody gets uppity, we've had some people that are mentally unstable in the store in the last few days. You don't know how they're going to behave. You don't know how they're going to come across. You start talking to them at the till about their purchase and you get into it with them. You have no idea how they're going to respond. So you need to be ready. And again, if somebody gets that way at the till, then you turn to the person wrapping and you say, "Is Philip in yet?" And that immediately sets the alarm that somebody needs to come to the front. Now, if it gets really bad and you've got guns and you've got fights going on, we do have a white button underneath the counter up there that you push, and the police will come. And don't hesitate to push it. Okay? Better to explain to the police afterwards that maybe we're a little hasty pushing the button, but I'd sooner have you safe, living, no blood on the floor, and going forward. Where people got hands up? No, but I think if you're with somebody and you see a staff member like Joe, or if you see Marlies or somebody, you say, "Hey, Joe, can you come here a minute?" And when they come over, say, "Is Phil in yet? Is Philip in yet?" And they will go, "Yeah, good word, yes, yes, no, no, no." Okay.
Lots of times when you're at cash and you page a manager and they don't hear it or nobody comes out or you page anybody, you stand there for 15, 20 minutes.
That's why this has to be a verbal, one person to another, and action immediately takes place. You can't say to the person, that you're having a problem with, "Wait a minute, before you hit me and before we get violent here, I just need to go and make an announcement." Right? You can't do that. Well, you can. It wouldn't go over very well.
Oh my God,
This is something we get all the time. Because if we're arguing about prices or all sorts of different things, how do you handle people? Well, the first thing you do is try and attempt to solve their problem. How can I help you? What is your exact problem here? Can you explain it to me? And I'll see if I have an answer for you. Okay. It's the gentle way to say, "I'm listening." Because a lot of times these people, what they want is they want somebody to listen. And so what you do is you invite the situation where you're going to, "Let me see what I can do. What is your problem? Speak to me." It starts to diffuse the situation right away because it takes the angst out of how they're feeling, because somebody's in front of them offering to help. And always tell somebody what you can do. Never tell somebody who's upset what you're not going to do, because that starts to escalate it. So, "I'm offering to help. How can I help you? How can we find a solution to this?" And then, "I have a solution to this. This is what I can offer you right now. How's this?" And so you're still lowering the level of the heated conversation. And if it doesn't seem to go over, say it again. "Look, you know what? I did listen to you. I heard you. This is what I'm capable of doing. I am sorry I can't seem to resolve your problem, but look, um, this is what I can do. And you know what? If this is still not acceptable, let me go get my manager." Um, it says here, "I'm happy to give you my regional manager's number or email," but and then if it still gets, if I would suggest to get the manager involved, because at that point, if we need to start escorting people from the building, I would suggest that none of you do it. Let me or let Karen take over and suggest to these people, "Look, you're getting angrier and you're getting angrier. So at this point, we've offered you a solution. You're not willing to accept it. So I'm going to have to ask you to leave." And so this happens in Grand Prairie all the time, probably twice a day. So if you do feel threatened by somebody that suddenly comes up in front of you and is like, hey, listen, you give the subject your full attention. Say, I'm listening. What is it you would like to say? Give them your full attention. Always modulate your tone and stay civil. Remain calm in that situation. One thing I never knew that. You never offer. Yeah, never say that. And of course, don't touch them, don't push them, don't have any contact with them. In fact, you need to keep yourself a good distance away from them during this time. And don't point, poke, or invade their personal space. Stay away, arm's length. Yeah, yeah. It's always a good idea when you have somebody and you're talking to them is to keep your hands up here and while you're talking. Never, talk to them like this or with your hands down by your side. Yeah, this is the code phrase. So once you get into this and you see Rosanna the other side of the clothing, or you see Joe come in, just hold on a minute, can you? Is Philip in yet? Right. Now, of course, you're not going to say to the person back here in clothing that's trying to pick a fight with you, excuse me, can we go up and stand by the till? But a lot of times this conversation will take place around the till, because that's where a lot of this happens. And if you look above the till at the back, there's a camera there that spends most of its time taking a picture of the back and the backside of the two cashiers, which doesn't serve much purpose. But in between the two cashiers, that camera is shining straight and bright. And if you can have that discussion with the person in front of the cash, if you can get that to happen, that's a good idea. If they didn't get it the first time, repeat the instruction directing the customer to leave and indicate the serious situation. Look, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This cannot go on. We're not going to have this discussion, and this is not going to escalate here right in front of the till. I've asked you to leave. I'm going to ask you to leave because if you don't, I have people here that are ready to lift up the phone, and the police will be here before you know it. Or lift up the phone or press the button, one or the other, if it gets really, really serious. Yes, at this time, I would hope for the most part that somebody in control would be there. But if they don't, for some reason, and you find yourself in that situation, that's what needs to happen. That's what we're talking about, notifying the police. Goods and money are replaceable. You are not. And so this takes us to something else that takes place up at the cash, which is robbery. We ask you not to be a hero as much as you would like to protect that money or those merchandise. Better to stand back and just start your camera in your head. Start recording what's going on here. Don't do anything. Certainly don't chase any. I know a lot of you. I mean, there's some people in here. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to tick them off. They'll come after you. But we're encouraging you not to do that, actually. Don't chase, just watch and make notes, mental notes. As soon as the person's left the store, lock the store, and then we will tell the customers in the store that a robbery has just taken place. We ask you to stand exactly where you are until the police are here, and we've given us the clear for people to leave. This is important because one of those customers might be a good witness. And at this point, we need witnesses. Well, obviously, I would contact the district manager. You would have your manager in this place, would contact the district manager. Check the crime scene, nobody touches anything, just stand dead still until you get indication of what it is you can and can't touch. Or if you're asked to sit down and write a statement or something, because witnesses must fill in reports. We have all this stuff up at the till. All cashiers know there's a robbery kit there. They pull it out as soon as there's been a robbery, and everything is in there with all the different subject matter where you can start writing things down.
You shouldn't do it while they're there.
People want to get involved, they're not going to say you're sorry.
That look was seriously.
So recording the incident, there are incident robbery reports in the drawer. We have to make sure that we collect as much information as possible, because if this goes down legal channels, our legal people are going to need to know everything possible. The police are going to need to know everything possible, not just for the apprehension, but once they've got him, they need to know exactly what went on, especially if there was a weapon involved. Things like this, right?
You have all those knives in the drawers, why are they not locked?
We've thought of that
Never
before.
even saw it.
I purposefully put those knives in those drawers right next to the toy department.
Like those knives are so expensive.
I've been thinking about that for 7.5 years.
Was on the board, he told them they should be locked up, but they never did anything.
That's access and stuff.
They shouldn't be, well, they can use them as a weapons also.
Or tools.
We just.
I don't like finding them in houseware. Sometimes you find big knives in houseware, people take them and drop them off. Children do play with them.
Well, and that's the thing,
Yeah.
children, why they don't use theirs all the time?
Yeah.
Sure, because they are the person that takes it.
There's one store I know of that actually packages their knives. They found a way to do it because as soon as you drop a knife in a plastic bag, somehow it falls out the bottom. So it's not an easy thing to do, but they've actually found a way of actually putting something on the blade, and I'm not quite sure what bag they have. Yeah. Yeah, well, the reason they're trying to get them in a package is so they can hang them, so the kids can't.
It's always in there.
Okay, it's back to this sticking to the facts and making it happen. Theft and crime in Canada, $2,500 average employee theft amount before being caught. Approximately 1 in 10 employees actually steal from their employer. The average customer theft amount before being caught is $175. Annual employee theft in Canada in 2024 was reckoned to be about $1.4 billion. Employee theft. Organized retail crime is responsible for about $4 billion. 87.5% of retail stores have been victimized. 66% of these environments where theft has taken place involve some kind of violence. And what have we done? What do we do to keep as our place as safe as possible? Obviously, we keep the store clean and tidy. We provide exceptional service. We have people out walking on the floor. Some people have mentioned to me that we should get a security company, but the cost and their ability to do anything, still doesment work. I mean, I walked into Salvation Army on McLeod Trail and 58th the other day, and there was this 4'4" Pakistani lady, weighed about 78 pounds. She's wearing a security uniform, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah.
Any one of those? Greeting and engaging customers is always a good idea. That's why Walmart does it. If you think you've got a shoplifter, be certain. Okay. We've had two people in the store now. One lady doesn't work for me anymore, but the other lady just left to go do her job. But they've walked up to certain people whose ethnic or religious affiliation will remain anonymous, but their pockets are full. And the lady that just left suggested to the gentleman that his pocket was full, could he go and get him a shopping cart? And he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, you have a choice. You can empty the stuff out on the table, we'll add it up and you can pay for it. Or you can take stuff out and put it on the table and you can leave. Otherwise, I'm calling the police. The other lady that didn't work for anymore walked up to the gentleman and said, yeah, you have a choice right now. You can empty your pockets on here and we'll add it up and you can pay the bill and you're never coming back. Or you can stand right there and I'll get somebody to call the police. Well, she worked for the RCMP, so. Yeah. Code phrase to alert other employees. If you're following somebody around that's stealing and somebody walks by, you just tap them on the shoulder and say, is Philip in yet? And then just and they can go get a manager and we will take it from there. Funniest thing is the riskiest time of day is the first 30 minutes when your tills have just been put out and there's usually not many customers or staff and there's somebody behind the till. And the last 30 minutes when the tills are loaded, right? You would think. So we do have a drop box to keep the amount of money in the till to a minimum. But if somebody ever said to you and produced some sort of weapon that they wanted the money in your till, I would say, yeah, sure. I will put it in a bag and give it to them and let them go. All the time, making mental notes of the fact that he had a skull and crossbones on his forehead, that he had I Love Lucy written down his left arm. Stuff like this helps us arrest them later.
And the guy would be standing there stunned.
I don't like the way what is right about that.
It's not on my list. Work as a team, culture of awareness, which we do very well. Physical security, keep store merchandise protection methods, which never work. Alarms, motion sensors, cameras, we have them as good as they are. Drop box, which we do have, which that's a good idea. And our lighting is amazing. The problem is with sight lines, people say to me, why don't you have more cameras? How many do you want me to have? Because and we had some cameras. We caught this person stealing something. Got a beautiful video of them. I've sent it to MGM and told the police, not interested. Keep the front entrance unobstructed. That's why there's no posters and all sorts of stuff all over the windows up there. I keep it clear. Now, this is most important because we as a store, especially at this time of year where it's getting dark, you have to be very careful when you leave the store. And I'm talking especially to my staff, who are usually the last people out. Females, what they suggest you do is pretend to be on your phone as you leave the store. Because if you're talking to somebody and there's somebody outside with evil intent, that's a Darth Vader. Evil intent. you are on the phone, the chances of them approaching you is becomes negligible if they get the feeling that you're on the phone. You mean the new parking? There is a light up there right now that lights up the top of the garbage because we had those guys breaking into the garbage. We could probably put a stronger flood in it. Yeah. And always, when you get out to your vehicle and you sit in it, lock it. Yeah, can do that. That's a mountain. Okay, so I just want to make a brief announcement about incident reports. We have incident reports here. There are three kinds of incidents that need reporting. There is theft or fraud. There is medical or accident. And there's violence, robbery, sexual abuse or something, or threatening stuff going on. So the first one, the theft or fraud, because it might involve the police. And the last one, violence, robbery, and so on and so forth, that might involve the police. And in the middle, the medical and the accident could potentially involve the police, but definitely would involve an ambulance. Because we are answerable to these authority people, it is up to us to accumulate as much significant information as we possibly can. And during, say, a medical emergency, that we actually go through the right steps to protect our backsides. So, for instance, theft or fraud, we've already talked about robbery and the robbery kit and the need to write stuff down and people memorize stuff. That's a given. And then, the front entrance is free. I've got cameras up there. I've got pictures of that person coming in. I've got pictures of them going out. And we have the old measuring thing there where you can estimate the person's height. And between us, we could write a pretty good book. The question is, what does that book look like? And it's in different handwriting and so on. And then if you had a medical emergency, like we had that lady collapse here the other day, and her daughter was with her, and they insisted that they didn't want to call an ambulance, well, you have to get that in writing. You have to start an incident report. Marjorie Feldman fell on the floor at this time. Apparently she went faint, couldn't see, and went over backwards. She was with her daughter. Her daughter's name is Bit. We went out there, administered first aid. We got her a glass of water. We sat her in a chair and we asked them, by rights, we should phone an ambulance. But do you want to decline an ambulance? Because if you do, I need you to sign here. Yep. Yeah, on our land. Yeah, it should be anywhere. We should cover ourselves. And with accidents too. I mean, if somebody's out there, right, and let's say a bin fell on their head and they went over backwards and crashed into the Bargain Boulevard and fell on the floor with blood coming out of a gash on their forehead, this all has to be written up. What you did, how you did it, who was in attendance, did you get a manager, who's the manager? The manager has to sign off. What are the person's names? Do you have any medical conditions? Oh, we should phone an ambulance, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff needs to be written down. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is because we are now entering into a season where we're bringing on board a brand new tool. It's a website that I would go into, put on by Admiral Bridge. It's a company that we're going to be paying $5 a month for this privilege. but they have these 3 different incident reports on their website, and Mission Thrift Store has access codes. And I put my access code in and it comes up as Okotoks, fills in all my details, all my information, who I am, our address, everything. And then it starts asking questions. Now, whether we've written it down on a piece of paper already, or if this incident involved an accident back here and we have the people in my room and we can actually fill it out on the computer as we go. The reason why this is important is because now we have consistency of information, required information, especially for legal purposes, across the country, because everybody's using this same reporting method. Once you've filled in all the data, if you've got pictures, if you've got all these different things that you can add to that story, at the end of the day, you can push a button and it will actually print a book about that incident. And what they're saying at HR in Newmarket is we need consistency in reporting. We can't rely on trying to read Kim's cursive handwriting about the robbery event last week. That we have to have it. We have to have everything exactly right, and we have to be able to read it, not have to decipher it and hope we've got everything. We need to know we've got everything, and it's all coming in the same. And so he's already in 5 lawsuits right now involving the law regarding incidents. It was a nightmare for him to pick through what the different stores sent to him to enable him to go down these pathways where he has to do his job. This Admiral Bridge program allows me to give him everything I can find. And if I don't have the information, it prompts me to go find it. Well, what else do I have? What can I give him? What can we put together? And then he gets it in a much more entire, readable, and in a format that the police or the lawyer can grab, or if it's a medical situation, you can print that off, and so the doctors and the hospital would have what went on. Was this person on drugs at the time? You know, all these different things that can help protect us. That's why it comes under protection of assets. Again, it's protecting us, the building, our reputation. Everything is being protected by us having a proper due diligence and not relying on some forms and hoping somebody filled out what we needed. It's why we have the robbery kit, because the robbery kit has sheets in there that prompt you to fill out information that you might have forgotten. What color was their hair? Did they have facial hair? Were they wearing a jacket? All sorts of different things. Did they have tattoos? Did you notice any physical limitations like limps or whatever? Like, it prompts you to answer questions because you've just been robbed. So you're in just the absolute prime state to sit down and ask to fill out a form, right? So this helps you get from here to here. All right. Still pizza left. Please help yourself if you're still hungry. Thank you for coming today. Thank you, board, for putting this on.